Hello and welcome to UQ. Today I would like to introduce Meditations, a classic text by the Roman emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius, which offers guidance on how to find happiness and overcome difficulties in life. We all face challenges in our lives, such as relationships, health, and finances, ranging from small worries to seemingly insurmountable problems. When we find ourselves in these tough situations, Meditations can offer a helping hand. The text consists of private notes, like a diary, written by Marcus Aurelius for his own personal growth. Through his writings, we do not see the image of a proud hero or a saint who has overcome all worldly desires. Instead, we see the human struggle of someone trying to survive with hope and determination, even in the midst of pain and suffering. This classic work has been beloved by people around the world for nearly 2,000 years and is considered one of the greatest texts of all time. In this video, we'll introduce 7 important lessons from Meditations to help you overcome difficulties and lead a happy life. Whether you're struggling with relationships, work, or worries about the future, we believe watching this video will help lighten your heart. So, please watch it all the way through. Let me briefly explain about Marcus Aurelius. He was born in AD 121 into an aristocratic family, and was raised by first-class scholars and private tutors. His primary interest was in philosophy, particularly Stoicism, which was the dominant philosophy in Roman society at that time. Stoicism aims to achieve happiness and fulfillment in life through rational choices and actions based on inner self-control and moral principles. Aurelius received direct guidance on Stoic philosophy from the top scholars of Rome at that time, and began to pursue the path of philosophy in earnest. Marcus Aurelius didn't desire wealth or fame, but rather a life as a philosopher. However, fate had other plans, and at 39, he became the 16th Roman emperor. During his reign, Rome faced many challenges, including invasions, epidemics, floods, and famines. Despite these hardships, Aurelius tirelessly led the army and fulfilled his duties as emperor. He turned to Stoic philosophy to help him cope with personal tragedies, such as the loss of his children and wife. His meditations were his personal reflections and dialogues with himself, written down at the end of each day, providing insight into his true thoughts and feelings. Now, let me introduce some lessons from the Meditations on how to overcome difficulties and live a fulfilling life. Lesson 1. Focus on what you can control, and don't worry about what you can't. This is a fundamental principle of Stoicism. For example, if someone treats you rudely or makes a snide remark, that is something you cannot control. It's like rain or thunder, getting upset about it won't make it stop. It's a waste of time to focus on things you cannot change and will only lead to unhappiness. Instead, focus on what you can control, your own actions and judgments. You can choose to respond politely and respectfully to someone who is rude. Avoid getting caught up in things you cannot change, and focus on self-management and self-improvement. This is an essential principle of Stoic philosophy. Lesson 2. The cause of disturbance in your mind lies within yourself. This means that events in themselves are neutral and it is up to you to interpret them as good or bad. Let's say your country loses in the Soccer World Cup. It is a disappointing experience for you, but for someone from the opposing team, it is a happy one. The fact is, there was a soccer game and one team lost and the other won. However, by changing your perspective, it can be both a happy and sad thing. Everything depends on your view and interpretation. To elaborate, there was a great Stoic philosopher in Rome named Epictetus, who heavily influenced Aurelius. According to his beliefs, there is always personal judgment before emotions such as anger and sadness. For instance, if your boss or colleague says that you are incompetent, and you get angry, it means that you have already judged that their words are true. You have accepted what they said as valid. On the other hand, if a small child says the same thing to you, you probably won't get angry because you know that the judgment of incompetence is not valid. Therefore, when someone says something hurtful, it is crucial to calm down and not judge their words as true. You do not need to let other people's actions or evaluations disturb your mind. Everything is your interpretation. In Stoic philosophy, the ideal state is to control emotions and desires that arise from external stimuli through reason and to maintain an undisturbed mind. This state is called apatheia in their specialized terminology. Therefore, Aurelius strived for apatheia, even though he was constantly disturbed by various emotions such as suffering, sadness, and anger, by throwing words to himself. This is similar to Lesson 1. You cannot control what others say or how they evaluate you, but you can control your own judgment or interpretation. Always remember that the cause of disturbance in your mind lies within yourself. Lesson 3. There is no benefit in getting angry. As Marcus Aurelius said, how much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? In other words, getting angry and yelling or blaming others only makes the situation worse and creates resentment in the other person. Anger only begets anger. It is a feeling that takes away from us reason and prudence, better suited to beasts than to human beings endowed with reason. Earlier, I introduced the word apatheia as an ideal state of mind where one's emotions are not disturbed. Anger is considered one factor that distances one from apatheia. Therefore, Aurelius tried to calm his anger and always tried to be tolerant and understanding, considering that there might be some underlying reasons for the other person's behavior. By empathizing with the other person's feelings and motivations, one can find more constructive solutions than anger. As the saying goes, the best revenge is not to be like that. Lesson 4. Strive for excellence, not perfection. Perfection is an impossible ideal, but you can always work to improve yourself and strive to be the best version of yourself. Rather than yearning for things that are beyond your control, such as innate intelligence or talent, focus on what you can do within your power. Everyone has days when nothing seems to go right, but it's important not to get angry, discouraged, or dissatisfied. If you are defeated by a failure, you can always go back to where you were and try again. If your actions were appropriate for a human being, even if things didn't work out as planned, you should be satisfied with that. Instead, you should love the fact that you are trying to move forward, whether by returning to where you started or taking a new path. Even Marcus Aurelius, who was certainly not exempt from setbacks, believed that every step forward, no matter how small, was cause for satisfaction. Even if the results are not ideal, as long as you are moving in the right direction and making progress, that's all that matters. The key is to be persistent and take one step at a time towards excellence, rather than striving for unattainable perfection. Lesson 5. Don't worry about what others think of you. Just focus on living in accordance with our own values and beliefs. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, therefore, guard, accordingly, and take care that you entertain no notions unsuitable to virtue and reasonable nature. If any man despises me, that is his problem. My only concern is not doing or saying anything deserving of contempt." It's important to remember that when someone criticizes or wrongs us, it's often based on their own perspective of the world, which may differ from ours. However, this doesn't diminish our own worth as individuals. As long as we act in accordance with our own conscience and remain true to ourselves, we can take pride in who we are and what we do, despite the opinions of others. This idea is similar to what we learned in Lessons 1 and 2, which stressed the importance of not being swayed by external factors that are beyond our control. It's easy to fall into the trap of letting other people's opinions dictate our lives, but doing so can lead to a situation where we end up working for a company that we don't care about, or doing things that don't align with our values. Instead, we should focus on what we believe is right and not be preoccupied with the opinions of others. Lesson 6. Hardships can be overcome. In life, hardships are inevitable. However, they can always be overcome. Marcus Aurelius faced many difficulties in his life, but he overcame them time and time again. Marcus said, "The mind adapts and converts to its own purpose is the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Instead of seeing a negative event as a setback, try reframing it positively. Then, think about how your interpretation of the situation can benefit you. This approach opens up new opportunities. This is the idea of the obstacle becomes the way. It is far healthier to say good when something bad happens and look for new opportunities than to complain about it. For example, if you were laid off from your job, instead of seeing it as a devastating event, you could reframe it positively and look for new opportunities. Perhaps this is the push you needed to pursue a career change or start your own business. By looking for new opportunities that arise from the situation, you can turn a negative event into a positive one. Lesson 7. Live in the present without fear of the future. Let not future things disturb you, for you will come to them, if it shall be necessary, having with you the same reason which you now use for present things. This quote by Marcus Aurelius means that it's important not to worry about the future, but to use the knowledge and reason we have now to deal with whatever comes our way. It's pointless to worry about the future because it will come regardless, and it's more important to focus on doing our best in the present moment. When we say live in the present, it doesn't mean that we should disregard the future and just have fun without any care or responsibility. Instead, it means that we should focus on the present moment and do our best with what we have, while also being mindful of our goals and responsibilities for the future. We should use our present wisdom and reason to make the best decisions we can for ourselves and those around us. Because the only thing we can control is how we spend this present moment. Marcus Aurelius also advises us not to fear change, as change is a natural part of life. He questions, is any man afraid of change? What can take place without change? The Stoic philosophy emphasizes that everything is constantly changing, and it's natural to embrace and accept that change. To live in accordance with nature, we should accept change and be willing to change ourselves. Therefore, aging and death are also natural changes in life that the Stoics do not view as inherently negative or scary. Instead, they believe that living in accordance with nature means accepting and embracing change. We should strive to be like nature, constantly changing and evolving. To summarize: 1. Don't dwell on things you can't control. Focus on what you can control. 2. The cause of our disturbed mind is within ourselves. 3. Anger has no benefits. 4. Aim for excellence, not perfection. 5. Don't worry about what others think of you. 6. Difficulties can be overcome. 7. Live in the present, without fear of the future. Marcus Aurelius' Meditations still teaches us how to live a happy life even after 2,000 years. As it is essentially his personal journal, you don't have to read it from cover to cover. Instead, read a page before bed and reflect on Marcus' time to gain insight into yourself. The link is provided in the description, so please check it out. Here on UQ, we share knowledge that can help us live better lives, from classics and philosophy to the latest research. If you found this video helpful or interesting, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.